job. Brandon Arnold is the Executive Vice President over at the National Taxpayers Union. I couldn't put it any better than the way Joe Biden put it, and Cat Turd pointed it out. How about you, Brandon? Is Joe right? Should we be blaming everything on COVID and Vladimir Putin?
I mean, there's no question that Biden has contributed to inflation. When you look at right out of this gate what this administration did with passing $2 trillion in spending, borrowed money injected into the economy to juice consumer spending, to juice consumer demand. It drove up inflation because of supply chain problems. Those aren't entirely Biden's fault, but there's no question that he exacerbated this problem. He poured gasoline on a raging fire and then is pointing in a different direction. You know, Putin's actions have made things worse as well, but most of these have taken place over the past couple months. Inflation far predates that. So it's really just a spurious argument for him to try to blame others here. He needs to shoulder some of this blame here because he absolutely deserves it.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. Let's talk about Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas's op-ed, claiming that we got to cancel all student debt. That'll help out. First of all, I don't believe that is the national majority consensus, that the majority of Americans are like, yep, just give free money to all those people going to those liberal colleges that are getting brainwashed. No, I don't think patriots want that. Number one. Number two, how about the slap in the face to all the millions of Americans who worked their butt off and paid off their own college loans and debt?
Yeah, I mean, that's a real slap in the face, as you put it. So many people have scrimped, have saved, have dedicated a large percentage of their paycheck each and every month to paying off their student loans. And for her to come back and say, yeah, you went to Harvard, you went to Yale, you went to one of these pricey schools, we're going to write you a big check, essentially, from the federal government to pay off a portion. That's just really disrespectful. And look at it this other way. You look at it through an economic lens. According to the Center for a Responsible Federal Budget, this will actually increase inflation. It would put more money in people's pockets at a time when we're not trying to juice consumer demand. We're trying to tamp down consumer demand, increase supply. It'll drive up inflation, make this problem even worse. It's a bad idea from so many different perspectives.
And my final one to you, Brandon, because I know you have an opinion on this one, is let's push for EPA grants and push this woke Green New Deal and climate agenda nonsense in the middle of what I would call a pre-recession, because we're almost there. We're getting dang close.
Right. No, it is teetering in a bad place right now, the economy. You look at some of the broad indicators. Consumer demand is the biggest area of concern for me. But yes, absolutely. Like, why are we spending money on these grants to these social, environmental causes right now when we have so many other pressing needs in this country? People can't afford to fill up their tank of gas in many parts of this country. People can't afford to pay their utility bills to keep their homes warm or fill up their grocery carts when they're at their store. And instead, we have just these priorities that are completely out of whack from what everyday Americans are talking about at the dinner table these days. It's a real disconnect between what this administration is trying to do and what people really care about. And I think that's the reason why his numbers are absolutely in the toilet right now, and Democrats are poised for such a disastrous November.
Yeah, red wave, massive red tidal wave. Brandon Arnold, Executive Vice President of National Taxpayers Union. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program. Appreciate it.